Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV. If you are interested in saving free over-the-air television, the time is now. We've been covering this topic now for about 2 years, ever since the broadcasters in my area started encrypting my free over-the-air television. And now the FCC is ready to start making decisions about when the new television standard will take effect. They have put in place a public notice to let everybody know that the decision is coming. They are now seeking public comment. Now, I know a lot of you have already put public comment on the docket over the last 2 years, talking about why we don't want DRM. Now we have some specific questions to answer from this FCC public notice. They have certainly noticed the public outcry, and now they want a little more information. So in this video, we're going to take a look at what they are looking for. I'll give you some tips about what to put into your filing, and I will also show you how to file it. And if you've already commented before this public notice came out, you need to comment again so that your comments can be considered as part of the record. So we're going to dive into this right now. Now, the FCC has a number of questions they would like to get public feedback on, both from members of the public like us, but also from the industry. But 2 questions in particular stood out to me, and these are the questions that I will be submitting some testimony on. First of all is this one, number 8, where they acknowledge that there have been thousands of consumer comments objecting to digital rights management on ATSC 3 broadcasts. That is the direct result of all of you. The FCC has noticed this. They've seen enough comments that they need to include this issue as part of their decision. Does it mean it's going to go our way? Maybe not, but the fact that this is at least on the docket is very important and I think very critical. And this is one of the more historic FCC docket cases because very few consumers get involved at this level like we all have. So let's definitely give them some answers on this. And again, I'm going to give you some tips to make sure that these can be the most effective. What I am a little uneasy about is the fact that the question kind of acknowledges that they feel the broadcasters still need to protect their signals. So what they say here is, what steps can or should the industry or commission take to ensure broadcasters are able to protect their content and signal while also ensuring viewers are able to continue to view a station's free over-the-air signal as they do today? So they are acknowledging perhaps that some DRM is necessary, even though I don't believe it is. And this is where, when you're answering the question, if you are okay with maybe gateways working and everything still being encrypted, say it. I'm not going to tell you what to say. I think what they're looking for are some good ideas for perhaps how we can better balance this out. I don't think DRM is necessary, but some of you might find a way to make it work. And I think if you've got a good idea, that would be something to submit to the commission. Another one that I'm going to comment on involves the mandates that the broadcasters have proposed as part of the transition. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Broadcasters want to mandate that all new TVs get an ATSC 3 tuner sooner rather than later. They also want to have those TV menus changed so that broadcast TV is front and center. They've also requested in some of their documentation for there to be a broadcast button on remote controls. So you might want to comment on that as a consumer. Now, this new FCC is moving a lot quicker than the old one, which is definitely refreshing, but it also narrows the window in which you'll have to comment before this docket is closed out. So right on the front page of the public notice here, you have until May 7th, 2025 to get your comments in. So please get those comments in as soon as possible. You do have the opportunity to reply to comments as well, but the deadline for replies will be June 6, 2025. So let me give you some tips here for the most effective comment, especially based on what the FCC is looking for here. Now, you can have opinions, which is great, but you really should try to back things up with the facts. And I think one of the best things you can do as a consumer is relate your personal experiences with DRM and how it's hindering your ability to enjoy free over-the-air television. In my area, I've got 2 of my networks that have been locked down. I can't use my HD home run on those channels, and one of them I have a really hard time getting over the old ATSC 1.0 format. So those kinds of experiences are important for the FCC to hear. If you're using an HD home run gateway or want to use a gateway product, right now you can't. That's an important thing for the FCC to hear as well. So as best you can, stick to your experiences as a consumer and how what the broadcasters are doing are hurting your ability to enjoy television. One thing that I'm adding in my testimony is that it also impacts the ability for small companies to stay in business or innovate in this space. We were seeing a lot of development on the ATSC 1 side, but now if you think about it, companies like Silicon Dust who make the HD home run are in trouble if ATSC 3 is implemented as it currently exists. Channels app is probably going to have some trouble. Plex hasn't even gotten into ATSC 3 because of all these restrictions. So a lot of the companies that we are customers of are at risk here, and I think that's important to relay as well. And most importantly, you need to make reasonable arguments that are backed by evidence. We shouldn't assume what the broadcaster's intentions are if they haven't said what those intentions are, because they could very easily deny it. So what I think is most effective is for your truth to get out, which is how you are being impacted by what the broadcasters are doing. I think that's going to have the heaviest weight when you make your filing. So how do you make a filing with the FCC? Well, it's not all that difficult. I'm going to put a link in the video description to the FCC comment page, and it'll bring you to this screen that you see up right here. And what we're going to do first is demonstrate an express comment, which lets you fill in your comment on the form here, so you can submit everything without having to make a PDF or whatever first, but I'm also going to show you how to do the PDF version too. So the first thing you have to do is specify the proceedings that you are filing on. This one is under 16-142, and I've heard from people who've had difficulty getting this part to work. So what you're going to do is type this in, and then you're going to see below it authorizing permissive use of the Next Generation Broadcast Television Standard. If you click on this, this will light up yellow, and now this is getting attached to the proper docket. You need to put your name in here. You then put your email address in this line here, and then below that you need to put in your physical mailing address. This will not get released to the public, but they do require this to make sure that you're a U.S. citizen when you are responding to this. And then you put your comments in the brief comment box here. I do suggest checking off the email confirmation. You click to the continue to the review screen, and then you submit your comments. Now, if you have something longer, like I have here, I've got a long diatribe here that I did organize into sections to make everything easier for them to read. I will also put this up on my website, which will also be linked in the video description so you can see what I submitted. But what you can do is go over to the standard filing here. Again, same process, 16-142. Check off this to get moving. Put your name in here. I am not represented by a law firm, but if you had a lawyer filing on your behalf, you would put that in that spot. And then you fill out all of your information below here. What you do need to specify on the standard form here is the type of comment that you're submitting. Comment is top of the list here. We're going to select that. You can leave file number, report number, and bureau number blank. Your address is needed here as well, and you're going to have it be the address of the filer. So you fill out all that information, and then you just drop in your file to attach it to the filing, and that will get in there. Now, when you submit an express comment or a standard one like I'm doing, you're going to be brought to a confirmation page. It'll take a little bit of time for you to get to that page, so be patient and let it do its processing. And then when you're on the page here, you can review all of your information to make sure that everything was submitted correctly. You do have to go through one of these captchas here where I've got to pick out the bridges. I hate doing these things, but it's important to make sure everybody's real here. I'm going to verify that, click submit, and now I've got my comment submitted to the FCC, and I will then see that in the docket in a day or two. So that is how you get everything submitted to the FCC. And again, you got to get moving on this pretty quickly to make sure you get those comments in on time. So there you go. Get those comments submitted as soon as possible to beat the deadline here. Again, even if you submitted prior, submit again so that they can hear your voice during this public notice period. And I do think it's actually encouraging and substantial that all of the effort that we have all made collectively has been noticed by the FCC. Again, it doesn't mean they're going to go our way, but they are considering this as part of the decision. And it can sometimes be easy to be cynical about having your voice heard by government, but here at least we did get heard. Whether or not we're listened to is another thing, but that's why it's really important that you all get those comments in, stick to the facts, make reasonable arguments, and relate your personal experiences. and perhaps we might be able to find a good outcome to this issue. That will do it for now. Let me know what you think down in the comments section, and we'll be back with more in the very near future. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. My voice is getting a little better day by day, so hopefully next week we'll be in much better shape. Thanks again for tuning in.